Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into the all-career story of a player who literally rewired the game of football. We're talking about the architectural genius himself, Lionel Messi. His story is this incredible blend of profound biological adaptation, constant tactical evolution, and just sheer cultural dominance spanning over 2 decades. From a tiny kid on a dirt pitch in Argentina to owning the grandest stadiums in the world, this is our comprehensive breakdown of history's most decorated player. So, to really grasp the absolute craziness of Messi's entire career arc, we actually need to start near the very end. Picture this: 39. That is the age Lionel Messi turned right in the middle of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Now, at an age where virtually all of his peers had long since hung up their boots or stepped away from the elite international stage, Messi wasn't just participating, He was absolutely defying biological logic and dictating the entire pace of the game. I mean, just look at the ridiculous records he shattered during that tournament. He became the oldest outfield player to ever appear in a championship match at 39 years and 25 days. He set the record for the oldest player to score a hat-trick. And with the new tournament format, he didn't just casually play, he scored in 6 straight knockout stage games, a streak stretching all the way back to 2022. He pushed his total World Cup goal tally to a mind-blowing 21 and firmly cemented himself as the all-time leading assist provider in tournament history with 12. It's an unprecedented level of longevity. It's basically a godlike status on the pitch. But it begs the question, how do you even build a player capable of this? Part 1. The origin of a legend, from Rosario to Barcelona. Okay, so to understand that insane longevity, we gotta flash back to where the story actually begins. We're going back to Rosario, Argentina. This timeline highlights his rapid but really turbulent youth progression. By 1992, a 4-year-old Messi is playing at a local neighborhood club, Grandoli. Just 2 years later, he joins Newell's Old Boys, becoming the centerpiece of their legendary youth squad, the Machine of '87, where he famously scored nearly 500 goals. But it wasn't an easy ride. In 1998, he suffered the devastating loss of his grandmother, and physically, well, he was diagnosed with a severe growth hormone deficiency. When local clubs couldn't, or frankly wouldn't, finance his medical treatments, his path led across the Atlantic to Spain in 2000. And that gave us one of the most absurd and wonderful pieces of sports history: a legendary contract with FC Barcelona, hastily signed on a literal paper napkin. But hey, who actually spotted this genius first? It wasn't some highly paid international scout with a clipboard. It was his grandmother, Celia. She recognized this incredibly rare locomotive and cognitive talent in him right away. She actually pressured a local youth coach to let her exceptionally small 5-year-old play in a match against older, much larger kids. The coach was terrified the boy was going to get hurt. But the moment the ball touched Messi's left foot, he just dribbled past to everyone. She kickstarted his competitive career right then and there. Which brings us to one of the most recognizable sights in all of sports, right? 2 index fingers pointing to the sky. When Celia passed away in 1998, right before his 11th birthday, it had a massive emotional impact on him. From that moment on, every single time he scores, this iconic celebration is a lifelong, silent tribute to the woman who first believed in his magic. It's a ritual he carried from those dirt pitches in Rosario all the way to the grandest stadiums in Europe and America. Moving into Section 2, Conquering Europe and America, the Golden Years. Let's see how this builds, because this is a huge takeaway for all of us. Messi didn't just stay the exact same player for 20 years. His true architectural genius actually lies in his tactical evolution. It proves that adapting to our physical limitations is the real secret to lasting success. He started out as this lightning-fast, explosive winger, just taking on defenders with pure speed. Then, under Pep Guardiola, he completely revolutionized the false 9 role, dropping centrally to outnumber midfields and just scoring at will. Finally, as his physical speed naturally declined with age, his unmatched spatial intelligence allowed him to adapt into a deep-lying playmaker. He basically learned to dictate the entire geometry of the pitch, relying entirely on quick decision-making and pinpoint passing. And right in the middle of that evolution, we hit the year 2012. I want you to just look at this number, 91. It represents his Guinness World Record for the most goals scored in a single calendar year. 91 goals. I mean, it sounds more like a typo in a database than a real athletic statistic, doesn't it? To put that into perspective for you, Messi's 91 goals were equal to, or in some cases, greater than, the total goal output for that entire year from the full rosters of Manchester United, Chelsea, and Paris Saint-Germain combined. Think about that. He He literally outscored entire elite European squads completely by himself. It still remains one of the greatest individual statistical achievements in the history of modern athletics. That crazy 2012 season is just the crown jewel of what became a towering legacy of Barcelona. The sheer weight of his achievements at Camp Nou is staggering. 35 total trophies for the club, 10 La Liga titles, 4 UEFA Champions Leagues. He is La Liga's all-time record holder for goals with 474 and assists with 192. He carried an immense tactical burden for that club, often covering up a lot of institutional instability in his later years, right up until severe financial constraints forced a super emotional, highly publicized exit in 2021. But, leaving his boyhood club didn't actually slow his output. It just shifted the geography. Over in Paris, he secured 2 League One titles. Then he crosses the Atlantic to Inter Miami and completely transforms the franchise overnight. He led them to the League's Cup, the Supporters' Shield, and secured their first ever MLS Cup championship in 2025. He took home back-to-back MLS MVP awards in 2024 and 2025. And as a pure testament to his relentless consistency, by 2026, he officially surpassed 900 documented career goals. Section 3. The National Team Redemption. From Heartbreak to Glory. For a really long time, there was this glaring contrast to his club dominance. It's a tale of 2 eras, really, and an incredible lesson in resilience. From 2014 to 2016, Messi suffered 3 consecutive, agonizing finals losses, 1 in the World Cup, 2 in the Copa América. The heartbreak was so deep, it even led to a brief, tearful international retirement. But he came back. And from 2021 to 2026, he experienced this profound catharsis, completely transforming that legacy of near misses into an ultimate trophy-laden run. He captured the 2021 and 2024 Copa Americas, the 2022 Finalissima, and finally, the Holy Grail itself, the 2022 World Cup in Qatar, cementing his international legacy forever. And finally, Section 4, the unimpeachable legacy, a statistical anomaly. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is when you step back and synthesize all of this together, the childhood adversity, the tactical mastery, the club records, the international redemption, you aren't just looking at a great player. You are looking at a literal statistical anomaly, a staggering 46 and by some counts 48 career team trophies. He didn't just win in one system either. He won major hardware across 4 entirely different environments: Barcelona, PSG, Inter Miami, and the Argentina national team. He brought championship glory to every single badge he ever wore. And then, on an individual level, there's this number: 8. That's 8 Ballon d'Or awards given to the best player in the world. Just to put that in perspective, no other footballer in history has more. It's a benchmark of individual brilliance spanning well over a decade that, quite frankly, may never be touched again. But despite all the gold, the crazy records, and the massive global adoration, I want to leave you with this quote from the man himself, reflecting on his World Cup triumph. "Everything I've experienced is far more than I could ever have imagined as a child." It's just a beautiful emotional bookend, isn't it? It connects the global titan we watched commanding the pitch in 2026 straight back to that tiny, underestimated kid playing for Grandoli in Rosario, doing it all just to make his grandmother proud. Which brings us to our final thought for this explainer. Will football ever see another architect quite like Lionel Messi? A player who can read the geometry of the pitch so perfectly and deliver magic so consistently over 2 decades? It's highly unlikely. But it leaves us with a fascinating question. In a modern sports world entirely obsessed with raw athleticism, will the next global icon be built on pure speed and power, or on the same quiet spatial genius that defined the boy from Rosario? Thank you so much for joining us, and keep exploring the incredible stories behind the data.